So Rope, I've always heard the hype around Rope is that, oh, it's all one shot. That is not true. That is not true. Okay, so what's Rope about? That's the thing for, okay, I'll talk about that in a second when I get into the actual, what I like about the film. Which is, Rope is still a great movie. It's still a fantastic film. Rope is about two college, are they graduates? They're either graduates or something. They're like college-aged dudes. They kill a classmate of theirs in their shared apartment. They invite him over and they kill him. They strangle him to death with a rope, and then they hide him in a big old chest. And the reason they've done this is because the kind of leader guy, there's the one guy who is super into this, and the other guy who he has serious reservations as soon as the deed is done. He has serious regrets about this, and he really is, he was not prepared for genuinely how he felt killing someone. Little too late. Basically, the guy in charge is convinced of this sort of supremacist ideology that he is intellectually superior to other people, and that for the superiors in society, morals are a construction to control and herd the inferior members of society, and they do not and should not apply to those with superior intellects, which of course he is, because he gets to decide who has the superior and inferior intellects. So for him, murder is not, he doesn't believe that murder is a crime when he does it against, one of these poor rubes. In fact, it is so above a crime, it is a work of art. It's a work of art to commit the perfect crime. Again, the common themes here. So his whole deal is he has this sick, gleeful plot that not only is he going to kill this guy, the very night of, they're going to hide him in this chest and invite his whole family, his girlfriend, and his best friend to a dinner party in the apartment. And what's more, they're going to serve, and their former professor, they're going to serve food off of the chest. Also, their maid is there. So, Rope is one of the best movies for pointing out, it's one of the best actual, practical demonstrations of something that Hitchcock talked about himself, his approach to suspense in films. He called it the bomb under the table. And it's basically that giving the audience, it's the principle that giving the audience more information can create a more intense emotional response over a longer period of time than surprising them. So a bunch of characters, his example is there's a bunch of characters under a table there's a bunch of characters eating dinner at a table in a hypothetical story, and then suddenly a bomb explodes. It was under the table the whole time. And this is very shocking and wow, but it's only shocking and impactful for a moment. However, if the audience knows that there's a bomb under the table when the scene starts, every single moment of that scene is horrifically tense. You're just thinking about the bomb the whole time. It turns the banal, regular old conversation that they're having into incredible tension. Because you're now paying it. Every single second that these people spend alive at this table is important because of the threat of imminent death. Rope is essentially this same concept. That is what if you based a whole movie around that? Instead of a bomb under a table, it's a body under the table, actually, because they're serving off of it. Essentially, it's the leader guy just sort of like starting shit and kind of fucking with people. Like, he's intentionally fucking with people because it makes him... He's this, like, sick, twisted kind of sociopath where he believes that he has the right to just fuck with anyone because he's better than them inherently. So, first of all, the sickening concept of serving a guy's family food off of his, like, literal grave, unbeknownst to them. The girlfriend and the best friend actually used to date. She broke up with him for understandable reasons, and putting them in a room together creates like a really, like, dude, come on, like, why did you, like, you're trying to start shit. Funny enough, they have one of the happier endings in the movie because they basically, again, leader guy kind of tries to get them together. He tries to put them together, and the best friend is like, oh, really? You think she would go for me again? And the girlfriend is like, no, I don't. And they have an actual conversation about this where they talk about why she liked the other guy more than him. And he actually, like, thinks that she's reasonable. And he's like, actually, you know what? You're right. And I like, kind of respect you. And actually, what brings them together is, why is leader guy such a fucking asshole weirdo? And him being a super freak in trying to start shit, and them, like, rebelling against his wishes and his control, his attempt to control the situation, ends up salvaging their relationship, and they end up smoothing things out, which is really funny. Really, you get a greater understanding of why this is all happening when you learn a little bit more about their professor, who is one of the key guests at the party. So their professor is this is a professor of philosophy, and it turns out that their whole thing about morals and who morals apply to all come from him. The professor is actually just a complete dumbass. He told them in school that morals only apply to people who are inferior, or that they are a tool for controlling people who are basically too dumb to control themselves. It's like the Nazi distortion of the Nietzschean Übermensch. It's like that exact flawed idea. The whole movie essentially builds towards a scene that is the SpongeBob episode about being a lifeguard. I didn't think that being a lifeguard meant guarding people's lives. He is just shocked and befuddled that anyone actually took his words seriously. And it's like, yeah, dude. Like, he has this dumbass moment where he's like, you know, I said all that, but now that I've seen what that actually produced, I think it's horrifying, and I'm really starting to rethink this whole thing. And it's like, you're a philosophy studier, you're a studier of philosophy, a student of philosophy, and not once did you espouse this belief and bring it to its logical extreme. Like, you never considered, hey, who gets to decide who is superior and inferior? You were just like a fucking dumbass. You fucking reinvented Ayn Rand, and you were like, oh fuck, was that a bad idea? Yeah, it was a bad idea. So he's a dumbass, but it doesn't necessarily detract from the movie. It's just kind of funny. The whole thing about the movie being one take is a lie. There are at least, okay. So the start of the film has a couple cuts, obviously. It's setting up, you get a couple quick shots. Actually, funny enough, the movie flashes the title card like 6 different times, which might be a joke, genuinely. It feels like a joke. They keep telling you the movie is called Rope. And it might be a joke about how the most of the movie is one long cut. It was like, hey, let's get all the cuts out of the way at the beginning. But once you actually get into the apartment, it just kind of goes from there. However, there are at least 2 hard cuts. There's at least 2 of them. Now, again, I've always heard this thing about how impressive it was, but then you watch the film, and first of all, there are those 2 hard cuts. Second of all, people are like, oh, but he hides where the cuts are, so it's not obvious. And then there'll be a moment where the cameraman just fucking digs into someone's back so the screen goes all black and then zooms back out. And you're like, I wonder where the cut is. Like, it's very silly. Obviously, because of the physical limitations of film, they could not actually do an entire movie on one reel. So they make a couple cuts and they attempt to hide it. It is unbelievably obvious, and it's so goofy when the quote-unquote hidden cuts happen. It's really silly. But that is not to detract from the effect that the long shots do, because, to the film's credit, almost all of it is singular, long, unbroken shots that just go and go and flow and flow. There's a passage of time that you can see through this big window they have in one of the main rooms. And you really feel like you've been there for a while. And part of the tension is that one thing that a cut can do is relieve tension. Cuts can relieve tension by showing you what's important and what's not important, lingering on something and then cutting to something else because maybe you don't have to worry about it for now. The effect of the near constant unbroken panning shots of rope is basically that you just, like, it all kind of washes over you and you're never quite sure when it's going to pop off. There are several points in the movie where things could go real south for the main characters, and the language of the movie is deliberate. Like I talked about Argento a moment ago, and how he will pick these shots where it messes with your understanding of the, like, visual language of film. Rope does that in the sense that there's no, like, big reaction shots. There's no big, you never, because it is so, it's almost vague. It's kind of, like, vague, and you have to almost guess when something important is going to happen. And so you're always paying attention, and you end up really sucked into this whole environment, especially once the party gets going. It's really good. It's a great movie. Really, really fun watch. It's quite short also.